Hi, and welcome to the NFL Fan Forum. My name is Art, aka the Sea Cow, and this is my sidekick John, aka the Cowlick.
What's up?
Thanks for joining us. Today's topic of discussion will be about the current quarterbacks on the roster for the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks, and what they mean to the team going into training camp for the 2021 season. But first, our play of the day.
Have been in 3 overtime games this year. They won them all. Got him at the 40. It's Thomas at the 50. Stiff arm got him free to the 30, to the 20. Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime.
First off, let's begin our discussion with the current quarterbacks for the Broncos. Ever since Peyton Manning won his last Super Bowl and retired in 2015, the Denver Broncos have fallen off a cliff at the quarterback position. Going into 2021, there's been a lot of hype surrounding this team because of the top-tier talent on both sides of the ball. All the team needs is a solid quarterback to lead this offense. During the offseason, many pundits in the news were remarking about the possibility of getting Deshaun Watson of the Texans, or disgruntled Packers quarterback and current league MVP, Aaron Rodgers, to man the ship. So do you think either of these two will be coming to the team this year?
It's a possibility, but Deshaun Watson, let me start with him. He has all those sexual assault allegations. I believe he has 13 of them. He has so many, and he might actually sit out for the season. And I don't know if the Texans are even going to trade him because they still believe that Deshaun Watson is going to be their guy of the future. And he's young, so I don't blame him for them to try and keep him. But I have a feeling he might sit out for the season, and they might start Tyrod Taylor instead. So that's a possibility. Will he be traded? If he was going to be traded, it probably won't be this season. Let me say that. Not this offseason or this upcoming season. He's not going to be traded in the middle of the season. But he's probably going to sit out because they still believe that Deshaun Watson is going to be their franchise guy. You rarely find franchise guys, so I think they really want to keep him. So I don't think we're going to get him anytime soon. Aaron Rodgers, though, he's just not going to training camp because he feels disrespected from the Packers organization. So will he be traded? From what I've heard, the president isn't looking to trade him. But here's the thing. He might not be traded until next season. I'm going to be completely honest. If he is going to be traded, it won't be until next offseason because he's going to be old and he wouldn't have played football for a whole season. So I don't think we're going to get Aaron Rodgers this offseason. I don't think we're going to get him during the season. I think we're going to get him next offseason. But you never know. He might retire next offseason. So I don't know if we're even going to get him. So if Broncos fans think we're going to get him this offseason right now during training camp, I don't think so. I really don't think so. During the season, no. Next offseason, we might have a chance. We might. Because Jordan Love will get to have a chance to show what he's got. And if Jordan Love shows that he can't be a franchise guy, that's an embarrassment for the Packers organization for drafting Jordan Love in the first round. And Aaron Rodgers, he was the league MVP. That should have showed them how much he still had left in the tank, and they should have just followed in the footsteps of Aaron Rodgers instead of just going for Jordan Love and drafted someone else, maybe like a wide receiver. But you never know. I don't think we're going to get Deshaun Watson anytime soon. I don't know if we're going to get Aaron Rodgers, but from what I'm looking at, George Payton is looking to either Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater. So that's what I'm getting.
Speaking of Drew Lock, he seems to be the starter going into this season. Despite his inconsistent play, he managed to guide the Broncos to a 5-11 record while throwing for 2,933 yards and 16 touchdowns. But his QB rating was only 48.8. Do you think he's gonna improve this year?
I honestly don't know. From what they're saying, from what I'm hearing from Vic Fangio, he is up and down. He's had some good days, but then he's also had some bad days. Like the first stage OTAs, he threw an interception on the very first play of 11-on-11 drills. That's not good. That's really, really not good. So, and the thing is, he practiced with Peyton Manning during the offseason, so he should be able to learn something, hopefully. But the thing is, will he be the starter? I don't know. I really don't know. But people are saying Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starter. Oh, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be the starter. No, what I'm thinking is Drew Lock will be the starter. And if he doesn't do well in the first 2 weeks, they'll switch over to Teddy Bridgewater, which is very understandable. So I don't know if Drew Lock will be the starter. If Drew Lock is the starter and he improves on last season, I'd be like, okay, I think we're building something here. But if he doesn't improve, that shows that we might need to draft a quarterback in next year's draft, or just sign one during the offseason. So I don't know what's going to happen to Drew Lock. I don't know if he's going to be the starter or not, but I think he is. But he has to play well if he wants to stay the starter.
To help push Drew Lock, General Manager George Paton brought in Carolina Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater. Paton knows a lot about Bridgewater from his days in Minnesota. Last year, he led the Panthers to a 5-11 record while throwing for 3,733 yards and 15 touchdowns. How excited should Broncos fans be for this pickup? And do you think he can be the starter for this year?
I think a lot of fans are excited for this pickup because Teddy Bridgewater, even though he's a veteran, he is a good veteran. He's consistent. He doesn't make turnovers, rarely makes mistakes, and he's a mobile quarterback too. He's not a gunslinger like Drew Lock is, but Teddy, he is just a soft touch kind of quarterback. He just lofts it up in the air and receivers make the catch easily, while Drew Lock forces it downfield and hopefully the receivers make the catch. But the thing is, sometimes receivers don't make the catch because Drew Lock's throws are super powerful and he has that arm, so it causes the receivers to drop. But with Teddy Bridgewater, it's just nice and slow and nice and easy, and it's easier for the receivers to make the catch. Like Jerry Jeudy, he has so far a strong connection with Teddy Bridgewater, and if Teddy Bridgewater was to be the starter, Jerry Jeudy would get a lot more catches right now. So, do I think Teddy Bridgewater is the starter? I don't know. Depends on what Vic Fangio and George Paton sees during training camp and OTAs. Main thing is during the preseason, though. That's where we really get to see Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater shine and see what they have in them. So, you never know. I don't know what Teddy Bridgewater is going to bring to the table. I don't know how good he is going to be during the preseason. But whoever the better quarterback is, Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater, will be the starter. And a lot of Broncos fans think Teddy Bridgewater will be the starter after the preseason. But I'm kind of leaning towards Drew Lock more. But that's just me.
The Broncos' third-string quarterback has blood ties to former Washington Redskins Super Bowl winning quarterback Mark Rypien. Brett Rypien has a lot of confidence and talent, and he even won a game last year against the New York Jets. So what are your thoughts on Rypien?
I think Brett Rypien is pretty decent. I mean, he had 4 interceptions last year, but 3 of them should have never happened. He had 2 interceptions back-to-back, too, during the Jets game. So I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon, even though he does have ties to Mark Rypien. Brett, I don't know if he has the same genes as Mark, even though he still has the quarterback genes, but Brett Rypien is making a little bit of mistakes. If Brett Rypien showed up to training camp and showed what he's got, I think he would be the starter. But if he really did not make any mistakes, but I haven't been hearing much from Brett Rypien so far from OTAs or training camp or anything. So to me, I guess he's doing average at least from what I'm getting. So will he be the starter? I don't think so. But he's a really good backup though. With 2 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, 295 yards. That's pretty decent for a backup quarterback. But you gotta lower down on the interceptions though. So Brett, he's a good backup.
So what grade would you give the quarterback group for the Broncos going into this year?
Honestly, I'd give it a solid B. It's not the worst quarterback group, but if you look at the Chiefs quarterback group, that's like an A. That's literally an A because Patrick Mahomes, and then their backup is also very good. So that's like an A. But the thing is, our quarterback room is B-shaped. It's literally like a B. Because Drew Lock, we still don't know much about him. Even though he had a terrible year last year, but some of it wasn't his fault. We lost to the Saints because we had no quarterbacks. He got injured a few times, and we lost some of those games due to his injury. So some of it's not really his fault, but we got to give him one more year. And if he stays healthy, maybe he might take us to the playoffs. And if he doesn't make any more mistakes or interceptions, then I think we have a Super Bowl caliber team right here. But the thing is, Drew Lock has to not make mistakes. Teddy Bridgewater, he's a really good veteran. We might start him over Drew Lock, you never know. But he's a really good quarterback. Watch out for him. See if we start him over Drew Lock. And Brett Rippon, he's a solid backup. I don't think he's going to be starting anytime soon, but he's a really good backup. So from what I'm saying, it's a B. So if Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock, whoever's starting, stays consistent and barely throws any interceptions, this would be an A, just like the Chiefs quarterback rosters. So right now I'm rating it a B for now. So now let's move on to the Seattle Seahawks and their quarterback room. During the offseason, quarterback Russell Wilson complained about the protection from the offensive line, but was very excited with the addition of new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, who came over from the rival Los Angeles Rams. Do you think Russell Wilson is more confident with these changes going into this season?
I think he is. He made it very clear after that loss to the Rams that he was very unhappy with the direction of the offense and the protection he was getting, which makes sense. He gets hit so many times every season, over 40 times since his second year in the league. And so I guess there comes a point where you're like, can we just do a little better? But I also look at it this way as well. Russell, unfortunately, is one of those quarterbacks that tries to wait for a moment of like a big game-changing play. So he holds on to the ball sometimes too long, and therefore good pass rushes will get to him, especially teams like the Rams and the 49ers. So it's partially his fault. But I think the changes we made were very good. Bringing in Gabe Jackson from the Raiders and signing him to a 3-year deal, and he's a massive body and a good blocker, was a big addition. Replacing Mike Upati, who retired, and he was injury prone. And then re-signing the other guys. And I think that Brandon Shell is going to do better this year. So now that he's injury free. And so I think we're going to have a decent offensive line. So he has nothing to complain about, in my opinion, because I think the protection is going to be pretty good. And then with the addition of Shane Waldron, which is the biggest offseason acquisition I think we had all offseason long. The ability for him to be able to have an up-tempo offense and get the ball out of his hands faster is going to make it that much better for Russell Wilson to not get hit as often, unless he makes it happen that way where he holds on to the ball. But in this system, he shouldn't be holding on to the ball. So I really think he is excited for this. I really think that he's going to do well in this system.
Wilson did have an outstanding season, leading the Seahawks to a 12-4 record and the NFC West Division title. He threw for 4,212 yards and 40 touchdowns. How do you think he will do this year?
I honestly think he's going to have a very similar season to last year this year. I'm definitely thinking he'll be in the 30s for touchdowns. I think his passer rating is going to be, as usual, very high. I think Shane Waldron's system is going to be kind of a nice change for him, because then he'll have a little more structure in his throws, so that he'll know that the receivers are either open or not open faster. And I also know that when he does the up-tempo offense, he really does well. He really does take to that. And he wanted that during the offseason. He mentioned it. He's like, we need to keep the up-tempo offense. Well, this is what we're getting now. And so I think this is really a good match. And so I think he's going to have a super year this year. And I think he's got plenty of targets to throw to. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do.
The backup position is helped by former Jets quarterback Geno Smith. He agreed to sign on for another year to be Russell Wilson's backup, even though he rarely sees the field. What do you think of having Geno Smith back?
I'm actually very content to have Geno Smith back. He's a former starter with the Jets. He played fairly well with the Jets. It's not a terrible quarterback. It's pretty decent. And I think he's a perfect backup. He has some scrambling ability. His accuracy is actually pretty good. And him and Russell really get along really well. So I think that, having him back was a good solidifier for the backup position, just in case anything happens to Russell. And I think he'd be just fine in this system as well. And so, I'm very happy to have him back.
The last quarterback positions are held by Alex Magoo and Danny Etling. What are your thoughts on these guys?
It's nice to have training camp quarterbacks, guys that don't mind throwing the ball, not knowing whether or not they'll be even on the roster. Usually the Seahawks only stick with 2 quarterbacks for the regular season, but once in a blue moon we'll have a third quarterback with Pete Carroll's system. But these guys are okay. They're 6'3", both of them, about 220, 7th round picks. And they have decent arms, and they're pretty accurate throwers. But they just never seem to be able to stick somewhere else and just play that much better. They're just okay average quarterbacks. I'm just happy to have them so we can throw to all these really good receivers I feel we have on the roster this year, so that training camp can flow much more seamlessly. So I'm glad to have these guys, but I'm not expecting much from them.
So what grade would you give your quarterback position?
I'm going to give the quarterback room an A grade going into this year. Anytime you have Russell Wilson, who's constantly in contention for MVP every year. Last year he was lights out early part of the season, and then he of course slowed down at the end of the season, and that's obviously not good. But I think that's more towards the predictability of Schottenheimer's offense, and that's why he's gone. Now we have Shane Waldron, who's a lot more diversified, a lot more particular and detail oriented and up tempo. I really think that this is going to allow Russell Wilson to have a full season of consistency, and I think he's going to have a really great year. Having Geno Smith as the backup, as always, is a good, solid backup with a lot of experience, so that's great. I'd give an A grade. I think we're going to have a very good quarterback room this year. So that'll do it for our show today. Tell us what you think in the comments section below. Be sure to destroy that like button and subscribe to our channel. And by the way, don't forget to turn on that notification bell so that you'll be notified when we post a new video. This has been Art
and John
signing off.